Hello, everyone. We're in the staff lounge at Oakland Rising.
Yeah, our beautiful staff lounge, enjoying our nice lunches. Cynthia, what did you say that you're eating for lunch today?
I just made pasta.
What kind of pasta?
That's like not even a type. It's just like everything I could find in my fridge thrown together with pasta.
Mm-hmm.
This is my maybe second time on Oakland Rising's Monday meals. But to introduce myself, I'm Cynthia. I am the program manager at Oakland Rising, and I've been with Oakland Rising for a couple years now, and have gotten to start doing lots of work this year towards building into our integrative voter engagement models, which we want to talk to you about today.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. And my name is Stevie. I am the new IVE volunteer organizer, so this is my first Monday meals. Woo!
Yes.
Yeah, and I will also be joining to talk about our new Core Leaders program, which I will be running with our collaborators.
Cool. So, kind of to get started, we wanted to intro to the IVE model for people who haven't, been working in the voter world. It's called integrated voter engagement. Is meant to kind of bridge together what people have always been doing, just advocating in our communities, door knocking, doing just outreach and talking to people with voter engagement. And so historically, there's base building community organizations, and then there's voter outreach organizations that really only come through when it's election season and are doing focusing on my work is around voter registration, or turning people out to vote, or turning people out to vote yes or no on specific things. And so there's been lots of studies on what is actually effective in turning people out to vote or getting people engaged in the electoral process. And it has been proven that coming to someone's door and saying vote yes on measure A once a year doesn't actually create new voters or consistent voters.
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't actually get people plugged into their communities, and doesn't actually create long-term voter power. And so organizations that were focusing on getting working class, low-income people of color out to vote, people who don't normally vote, were noticing these patterns and started to really look at the ways that are effective. And people found that when community-based organizations that do consistent community outreach and organizing are able to integrate into their work and their outreach work around around elections, around voter engagement, people are able to come out more, and we are able to actually create consistent patterns. So that's kind of this model that we've been experimenting with here at Oakland Rising, where as a collaborative, we, our collaborative of 8 organizations all work on very specific things, but how can we all together integrate into our programmatic work voter engagement? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think an example of how IVE works is if you were to talk about wanting to become a regular at your coffee place, only then can you build a relationship with a business or a coffee place if you're there every day and they know your name and they know your order. So it's just the more consistent you are with people, the more that you are likely to build a relationship with them. So when you ask them to vote that they will actually show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And so, for us, this model of when we do voter outreach and voter engagement, we are mobilizing people, we're getting people to come out and do something. But how are we actually building power, consistent power, with all this hours and time and energy and money that's put into contacting voters? And how are we creating consistent leaders and change makers in our community? And so that is really at the core of being able to have more of an integrated voter engagement strategy in our work. How are we building power so that, every time it's an election season, it's not like a struggle to get someone to come through, but like these are people who know us, who trust us, and who are like ready to take action with us. And so one of like the core pieces of being able to do integrated voter engagement is what we call deep canvassing. And so, this is a model in which we are more deeply listening to voters and the people that we're talking to about, hopes, fears, aspirations for their community, for themselves, and like what it is that moves people. And in this, we're able to, build connections and trust through these conversations. This is, deep canvassing has also been like a really scientifically proven effective way to influence people. And really also how the people who are doing the outreach and talking to voters are being able to share their own personal story and their own like dreams, aspirations, goals for them and their community. And so being able to bridge both like the deep canvassing into the integrated voter engagement, where it's not just once or twice a year talking about elections, but consistently talking to our communities about issues affecting them and getting people to take action, that is like, at the core of like what we're envisioning the future of our work to really look like. And the core leader program that we're developing together is one of the key ways that we're able to do that.
Yeah. So our core leader program is also engaged with our collaboratives in order to get volunteers so that they can also support the work of our partners and also for Oakland Rising. And so the work for Oakland Rising is the things that we've come to consensus on, like the policies that we've pushed for in the past and the policies that we continue to push forward like right now. And some of those in the past have been like Measure T, right, to make sure that youth between like 16 before 18, when they would legally be able to vote, so they are able to vote for their school board supervisors. And another one that we're currently pushing for right now is funding for democracy dollars to ensure that people like us, either like working class or just like non-white collar jobs, people can afford to donate money towards campaigns, either for specific policies or for people who are running for office. Just because like besides like people power is the main thing that we're working with, but the largest contributor to power within elections happens to be money, unfortunately. So democracy dollars just makes it a little bit more equitable, so people like you and I can afford to contribute to the things that we find most needed in our communities.
Mm-hmm. Do you, like, what is kind of like the main goals, I guess, for the core leader program?
I think for me, one of the biggest things that I am looking for in the core leaders program is just to activate new leaders in our community, because I feel like one of the largest things that I feel is apathy. Like I tend to feel like a lot of passion for trying to create more equity in my community, but then I end up feeling like I'm just one person, like what can I do? And I think the largest thing that we can do besides just like activating our own power is trying to awaken our other neighbors to know that like we're more powerful when we come together. So the more leaders that we can create in our communities that are willing to take action, the closer we come to creating like the equitable society that we all want to see.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also when our collaborative kind of came together and thought up the core leader program, it was this idea that came from our organizations post-pandemic have all really been transitioning back to like how do we base build in person at the door with people in like a safe way, and in a new or not new but an evolved Oakland in a way that our issues are different, the context is different, like how we're being painted in the media is different. How are we continuing to like be relevant with people and meet people where they're at? And so the core leader program is meant to activate leaders within our, collaborative in a way that is incorporating the integrated voter engagement. So like being able to do lots of deep listening at the door, and build the basis of our collaborative, as well as getting people involved into, voter engagement and the civic engagement process. And so I think it's going to be really cool to like see how, the things that we're meant to train on is like how to activate volunteers, how to get people to like want to turn out to things like this. Time is like a very valued resource in our communities, and so how do we get this to be like a priority on the forefront for our community? And so there's lots of different issues that we are going to be talking about on the statewide, where there's like there's so many battles. So there's the defending Prop 47, again, like pitting that against our, the public safety like doom loop narrative that is being cast upon Oakland, as well as just like what does it mean what does real public safety mean for our communities? And that's kind of like being able to train more leaders within our collaborative to be able to lead on doing this volunteer like activities. This canvassing, this phone banking is going to be exciting to see with this fall election. I feel like I guess maybe Stevie, is there anything that like when you were first like getting involved in doing this type of like outreach or organizing work, what were some of the main things that really helped you to be like effective in the work that you were doing?
I think one of the things that has made me like more effective in my work is just knowing like the duty that we basically have to our community, because we have so many obstacles that want to basically make it harder for us to live in our communities. For example, knowing that like perhaps like not always, not to say that I advocate for the police or anything, but like sometimes in like not cracking down on like certain like crime is like a tool to perpetuate gentrification, right? And then we also have people in our communities that more so see like, not that like crime is okay, but they're like, but it'll keep my rent down, it'll make it more easy for me to continue to live in my neighborhood. So it's trying to like inform people about the things that are in turn harming the community is like not necessarily always in their best interest to just keep their community affordable, that there are other ways to keep their community affordable so that they can continue to live in their communities. I would just say knowledge is power, especially like the more that you can spread it into your community as well.
Definitely. Yeah, I think similarly when I first started doing community organizing and labor organizing work, I was like really sitting with this like deep like heartbreak about like who this like world was trying to tell me that I was, as well as like just like learning about like the historical like the lineage of like fights that we've come from, left me feeling so just like really heartbroken, and being able to find hope or like really feel like there was hope was able to move me out of that like a lot of pain and like a lot of which can lead to apathy, right? Like typically for most the way that we are like taught to deal with these things is
like capitalism separates us, capitalism pits us against each other.
Yeah, exactly. So like you just have to like look out for yourself and like just make it work, and also like this is just how it is and you need to like find a way to make it work for you, and being able to like really look at it and be like, no, this is not how it has to be. There is like things that we can do and like skills that we can learn together and people that we can bring into this to like change, maybe change some policies in our city, maybe like have like do these changes, but also just change the ways that we're thinking, just like with our family and our friends and the people in our neighborhoods. You know, like doesn't always look like this like big policy change, but like really just the narrative of like how we think, what we think is okay.
I think the other thing is like back to like knowledge is power, is like remembering our history, remembering our legacies of resistance, remembering our legacies of like wanting to fight despite like being fought with like violence, even if it's like direct like active violence or if it's like systemic, right? And it's like not allowing kids to go to a school that would like actually serve their needs, right? So I think it's just knowing that like we have that strength within us because like the previous generations had that strength as well, you know?
Yes. Yeah, and I'm hoping that's something that we can integrate into like what we are you know, doing with our core leader program. Another big part of our integrated voter engagement that we're going to be doing is our canvassing and outreach fellowship. So we're having a year-round canvassing team for the first time for Oakland Rising. So typically we have, you know, seasonal canvassers that come through like a couple times a year. And so now we get to have a team that's really out doing this deep canvassing work, doing the integrated voter engagement work on a year-round basis, so that we're able to just be more consistent and build more relationships in the communities that we're doing voter outreach in. And so I think that's kind of all we really wanted to talk about. I don't know.
That's pretty much it. Well, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for our Monday meals. I hope that you're enjoying your lunch and that you enjoy the rest of your day.